this is our fourth baby, and I felt like it would be really helpful, and this would be a helpful video for me as a first-time mama to know like what I wish I would have known before having my first child, because it has been a journey over the last 6 years of raising three kids, adding kids to the family, about to have our fourth kid in 6 years. It is wild. And so in this video, I want to just talk about a few things that I wish I would have known before having my first kid, with hopes that it will prepare you as you welcome your little one into the world. Hey mama, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chanel. I am a wife, soon to be mama of four. Be sure to subscribe so you can join our family and know when all of the videos come out. There have been a lot of lessons that I have learned over the last 6 years when it has come to parenting. And I want to talk about the things that I wish I would have known before having kids, because this journey is so sacred to me and this journey is so special to me, but it's been the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. And I feel like having this reflection piece might help another mom. It probably would have helped me the first time around as such a type A perfectionist and a planner. That has really caused me to learn a lot of new things about myself in this process. So let's jump into those things that I want to talk about. The first thing that I wish I would have known before having kids is that every day is going to look different. And that was something that has been, still is very difficult, because we have started to homeschool our children. And as a planner, as somebody who is type A, I like to have a schedule. I like to be routine. I like to have structure in my life. And what I have learned from parenting, and then also like talking about this in therapy, is that structure is good, but being loose and flexible and not so rigid within your structure and schedule, especially when it comes to kids, is absolutely necessary for your own mental health. For me, I'm still working through that because, again, I want to be very organized. I want to be very timely, all the things. And I found that since becoming a mother, I am not timely. If I am on time somewhere, it is an absolute miracle. Okay. And that has nothing to do with how many kids I had. I started being late after having one child, because things take time. And then when you think you're ready, you got all the bags packed, you walk out you're about to walk out the door, and then your kid has a blowout, and you're like, okay, now I'm going to be 10 minutes late. That has been an adjustment for me, but understanding that is okay, that there's flexibility and there's freedom within boundaries, will give you so much freedom in parenting. And as I've adopted that slowly over time, it has given me some freedom from myself. And I'm realizing through therapy that a lot of this stuff is my own childhood challenges and upbringing and trauma of why I feel like I need to be so rigid all the time and perfect all the time. But knowing that every single day is different almost brings beauty of what is going to come today and what are we going to learn today. And learning that you can go with the flow of your child and following the flow and the interests of your child, and also giving yourself grace to not try to be who you were prior to having kids, will free you up from the expectation that you have to be this super mom or this mom boss. And I wanted to be that a lot in my first postpartum first kid experience. I'm like, I see all these mom bosses on social media, they're killing it, they're doing all things, and it just doesn't work for me. My value and my priority is time with my child, learning my child, spending time with my child. And when you do that, it's really, really messy. Even if you do go to work every single day, it's still messy, because you're at work and you're probably thinking about your kid all day long. And then you come home and you're trying to do all the things and get all the things done in such a short period of time. And that can be overwhelming and stressful. And I have found that a lot of my mom boss friends burn out really, really fast. I burnt out really fast trying to do it too. But when you give yourself that freedom and flexibility within your schedule to just be like, oh, I'm not going to have time to make dinner tonight. This really cool dinner that I saw online and I want to make, or our favorite meal, I'm going to have to do takeout tonight. Being okay with that doesn't change your ability, doesn't change who you are, doesn't change the type of mother that you are. It just means you're flexible. Obviously, as a doula, I'm seeing a lot of my moms oh my gosh, my kid is not sleeping. How do I get them to sleep through the night? I'm like, all these little things. This is going wrong with they're different. Kids are different. We're human, and they're going to have different types of days. And when you can become flexible with that and understand that and expect, my kid could be having the best day today and then have the worst day tomorrow and like have meltdowns every 7 minutes, which is my life. But the more I've become accepting of that and embracing that, the freer I've become. And I almost feel like the better mom I've become. The second thing that I wish I would have known is that I don't have to follow the path of how I was raised, how somebody else raises their kids online, how I think I'm supposed to raise my kids based on what a book I read. I have learned through trying so many different parenting approaches that there's not a one size fits all. And as much as I would like to have a blueprint, because I'm type A, because I'm a planner of just like follow step 1, 2, 3, 4. I used to be a math teacher, and it is very much left brain. And you're like 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is how it goes. And it's a process. Parenting is not a linear process. And I have tried to find the parenting approach that fits and aligns with me and just to follow it and just like rinse and repeat. And it does not work, especially with little kids, because they're human and they're learning things. And once I started to realize, like, hey, the way that I parent this kid is probably going to be different than the way that I parent this kid. And you can have like a foundation for your family. Like, here are our values. Here's our mission. Here's what we believe in. Here are our boundaries, our non-negotiables. And like, we have those as a family. But I have found like, here's what I really like about this parenting approach. Here's what I like about this parenting approach. Here are my goals for my kids. Here are the things that are really important to me that I want to teach them. And like, it's all over the place. But it doesn't have to be this like straight path of like, this is how we do it all the time, every single day. And once I learned that I'm like, oh, I listened to this book and I really like this. I want to try to implement this, see how it works. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, cool. It's not a big deal. You can forge your own path of parenting. It does not have to be how your parents raised you. And you'll probably get a lot of pressure from friends and family like, you don't need to be doing all that, girl. Like, y'all doing the most. Just give that baby da-da-da. We gave it to you and you were fine. Like, I hate those phrases because I'm like, well, yeah, it didn't really turn out as good as you thought because I'm still processing this in therapy right now. So like, we'll leave that for another day. But everything that you did was what was best for you in the moment as a parent. And we do not have to follow our parents' footsteps. There can be things about our upbringing that we adopt and we bring over into our parenting style. But I would assume that a lot of what you probably experienced growing up, if you're anything like me, is like, I am trying to do the opposite. Like, I love my parents, but there's some things that I don't want to repeat. We are breaking generational curses. We are breaking generational trauma right now. You can make this journey look whatever and however you look. No matter how much judgment and opinions that you get, if they're judging you, it's probably because you're doing something right. It's probably because you're doing something that they don't feel capable of doing or could not do because they're not you. And they don't know your kids the way that you know them. And I had that pressure as a first-time mom of like, okay, like my mom said this, my mother-in-law said this, like I probably shouldn't do it. You're doing too much, Chanel. And I've completely changed my parenting strategies as a second and third and now fourth time mom. Like, I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what the internet says. I don't care what anybody else says. We're going to do what's best for me and my home. And we're going to be led from scripture. We're going to be led from God. We're going to work together as a family, as the leaders of this family, my husband and I, to do what's best for our children so we can set them up for what we want them to do and whatever they want for themselves too. And everybody else's opinions are null and void. The next thing that I have learned as a parent, and what I wish I would have known the first time around, is that doing things for yourself is not selfish. I fell into this hole as a first-time mom of like everything revolving around my child. And I still am working on this because obviously I'm at home a lot with my kids. I have chosen to homeschool my kids. We do a lot together as a family. And sometimes, especially with the more kids that you add, for me, it has felt like, oh my God, I don't have any time for myself. But even though that is my reality, I don't have the belief that going out and doing something, getting my nails done, getting my hair done, like spending time with my husband and going on date nights, even though my kids are like, Mommy, Daddy, we don't want you to leave. It's not selfish at all. It's actually selfless, because the better you are as a parent, the more filled up you are as a parent, the more you pour into you as a parent, or for me, I'll speak for me, the more I pour into myself as a parent, the better I am for my kids. And as a first time mom, you can get really sucked into feeling like anything you do has to be for your child and that your child cannot be away from you. And I did not, especially because I was working out at the home with my first kid, I did not ever want any free time to be without him. I wanted memories to be with all three of us. And my husband had a really difficult time with that because he's like, well, I want to spend time with you. What about me? And I was like, man, we've been together. We spent some time together. What are you talking about? We gotta make memories with him now. And I had a really hard time separating. I need separate time with my husband, and I need time with my child, and we need time together. And that just depleted me because I gave everything that I had to parenting and to motherhood. And I don't regret it, but I see the difference with how when I do things for myself, I get to show up better instead of feeling resentful towards my husband who works outside of the home and travels for work and being like, well, you don't get it. You're not at home with the kids all day. That's his work. That's what he does. And he has his gym time and the things that fill him up that help him show up better as a husband and a dad. But we also as mothers have to do that too. And we have to find those things that work for us so that we can do those things. I want to encourage you from the very beginning, and I teach this to all of my clients as they prepare for their postpartum journeys. You got to find what fills you up. Is it Bible study? Is it shopping? Scrolling? Hopefully it's not scrolling, because most of us realize anymore scrolling does not fill us up. It just empties our cup. Is it taking a bath? Is it going on a walk? Is it going to the gym? Doing those things, putting your kid in childcare for an hour a day is not going to cause harm to them. That 1 hour can completely fill you up for the day. Your kid is going to be okay if they have a babysitter. You are not doing something wrong to put your kid in somebody else's care as long as that person is safe. And I encourage you to find those things with yourself, with your partner, to continue to flourish those relationships and not just focus on motherhood. Because if you just focus on motherhood, you will lose yourself in it. And I lost myself in it. And I've had to figure out over the last 2 children, who is Chanel? Who is Chanel outside of work? Who is Chanel outside of being a mom? And I'm learning that person, relearning who she is now in this new season, because I'm finding the things that fill my cup up and bring me joy. And those things sometimes involve my kids and sometimes they don't. Finding solo time to fill up your cup is absolutely crucial, and what I wish I would have started from the very beginning with my first kid. And the last thing that I wish I would have known, there's so many more, but the last thing that I wish I would have known before having kids is that your marriage still comes first. That is kind of going on a little bit of what I just talked about, but I feel like we have had to work really, really hard these last couple of years in our marriage because we're relearning each other as parents. We're relearning each other in this new season. We both really flew into parenthood in a very quick way after we got married. And it was one of those things where it was we're just doing this. We're just going through the motions and we're just doing it because we have to do it. But we lost an aspect of our marriage and our relationship and closeness when we were just focused solely on the kids and work. And so I encourage you, as a first-time mom, dad, relationship, marriage, couple, whatever, that you guys still pour into each other, that you find a time every single week to connect, just the two of you. And it doesn't mean you have to be outside of the house. There's so many creative date night ideas that you can do in the house, or find a show that you can connect on, but make conversation with each other and connect and make sure that you guys are getting to know each other in this new season and supporting each other and not taking it personally, giving each other the space that you need, but also making sure that you're filling each other's cup up and that you're still pouring into your marriage and relationship, because at some point these kids are going to be gone. They're going to be gone out the house, and that's why we see so many divorces when kids leave and and these adults become empty nesters, because they didn't even keep their relationship alive when their kids were in the house. And I don't want that for my marriage, and I don't want that for yours or your relationship. And so I encourage you guys to just still find that time, go on dates, get to know each other, allow your kids to see you affectionate. Our kids, love to see mommy and daddy affectionate with each other, and we don't like go overboard or anything, but really pouring into our marriage, because it's also for me, not only for our marriage, but I want our kids to see what healthy love in marriage and relationships look like, and they can only see that from us if they're going to see that and have that in their futures. And I didn't see that as a kid growing up. My husband didn't see that as a kid growing up. And like, this is our opportunity to change that narrative and that perspective for them. So really pouring into your marriage and really finding that time, because you still have every day and so many more hours with your kid potentially than you do with each other. So I wish I would have known that. And there's so many things. I could probably make a part two. If you want me to make a part two, leave it in the comments below. But maybe I'll do it with Harold. Who knows? But leave it in the comments below. These are some things that I wish I would have known. As we're welcoming our fourth baby, I'm going to try my best to like hone in on these as we have another little baby walking and running our lives. But trying to stay focused on the core is really, really important, and has been helpful for us with 3 kids, and hopefully we'll continue to do it with 4. If y'all liked this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Let me know what questions you have in the comments below, and I will see you on the next video.